Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain you the refinement options we have when working with our selection tools, okay? So in the last 3 videos I showed you how to work with the rectangular, the elliptical marquee, how to remove selection, add selection, invert the selection, deselect, etc. Then in the other parts we saw the lasso tools and the magic wand tool, the object and the quick selection tools as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to explain you is how we can improve these selections. In the last video, I showed you how we can use, for example, the quick selection tool to create to select here, for example, this ice cream, okay? Now I'm going to do this twice, without refinement and with a refinement, so that you can see the difference. This explanation works for all your selection tools, okay? So I'm not going to do this with each tool individually. So in this case, I chose the quick selection tool. This is what my object requires, okay? And I am going to press Command J because I want to keep the original. Command J duplicates that selection into a separate layer. So if I hide this, I already have my first ice cream without refinement. So if I move closer to the edges, you can see that, let me put them behind black color, you can see that they still need some work, right? They can be improved. So to do that, let me activate my original layer again. I will repeat the process. I will use the quick selection tool to select my ice cream, but this time there's an option called select and mask right here in your options bar, and this is in all the selection tools, okay? So when we click here in the select and mask option, the first thing that you notice on your right is the properties panel. Now, I am not going to go into these options yet. We are going to see that later. So the first option here in the properties is the view mode. How you can see your selection. You can see it as marching ants, you can see it in overlay, you can see it on black. The two that I like to use the most are the overlay because I can see the object and the selection, and black and white so I can have more contrast in my selection. Now, let me put all the values in 0 so that you can see the difference, okay? This is my selection without refinement. So as we checked in the other one, it still has work to do, okay? So we will see the refine mode and the edge detection later. I'm just going to minimize those and I will focus on the global refinements. So the smooth, what it does is that creates better selections, right? If my selection is like blurry or pixelated, the smooth works wonders for create better edges, okay? It smooths those edges. The feather, remember, it creates blurry edges so they combine better with the background. So the higher the feather, the more the blurry the edges will be. My recommendation, as I told you in class, was to use 1 or 2 pixels of feather so your selection is better, okay? And it blends better with your background. So I'm just going to put it in, sorry for that, I'm just going to put it in 2, and then I'm going to move to the shift edge. For the shift edge, I will go to the overlay so that you can see better. Right now, my selection is right on the edge of my ice cream. But here's a tip. If we want to really decontaminate my object from the background, like instead, maybe I get the chance of still having part of the background here, a tip for you is to use the shift edge option. So if I increase the shift edge, as you can see, the selection moves a little bit more like outside of the selection. But if I move it the opposite, then my selection contracts, okay? We can expand the selection depending on the result, or I can contract my selection. So this way, my selection is a little bit more inside and I can avoid contamination with the background. So this is a quick tip for you. Once you're happy with your refinement options, you click OK and we follow the same procedure. You can either invert or I'm going to press Command J so that you can see the difference between the selections, okay? As you can see, let me zoom in, okay? So that you can see over here how these edges are like bitten, and over here they are super smooth, and you can also tell more difference between these ones and this one. The proof here that you did it correctly, what I also recommend you is to use a dark background so that you can see all these, that your selection still needs some refinement, okay? And again, those refinement options work with all the tools. So it's now time for you to practice this.